feel like I've got very little to cling on to sort of to help me transition socially, and I don't look that feminine, which is fair enough, and all the rest of it, but I feel that I don't really convey any sort of sense of maleness, or at least like maleness that I know is inside me but is not sort of coming through. I feel like I need to learn how to be manly, and I feel that if I was to get the testosterone, that would be like a kickstart to sort of allow me to sort of come into my own sort of masculinity.
Alright, now this person's on the right track. What they're saying, like, okay, I just had to stop it, had to rewind it and record it, because that's very important. For me, I know that, like I said, sometimes, I mean, it's what they said. It said a specific part, but it's kind of degrading to know that I still have to train myself to be manly, to be more of a man's man. I get they're all different kinds of men. I did that, but I mean, it's just like I know there is more inside of me. Like within certain moments of my life, or throughout the day, throughout different days, or whatever, different situations, scenarios, I know that there are times where I could definitely be more, put on more of a front, put on more of an act, whatever. I could definitely represent more of what I know is actually inside of me. But it's like sometimes it's harder to do than others. Because I wonder, oh, am I like acting now? Like, am I faking this? Or like, I don't know. I guess sometimes I kind of do force myself to act a certain way. Um, but at least it's not in the way like it. But I don't mind that as much. I mean, if anything, I have to ask myself, am I being a jerk? Because I've even said like I go into like this jerk mode sometimes. Like sometimes I kind of like I want to like grab my crotch and like spit like in front of girls, and it just prove manliness or something. It's like assert myself, basically assert social dominance over someone else in a conversation. When I'm speaking, I want them to be quiet. I want to say what I have to say, and that's it. I mean, then again, plenty of people do that though too, and they're not. Well, they're not me. They're not trans. Anyway, it just anyway. Sometimes this person really just brought up a very good topic. And sometimes I know I do have to ask myself, am I being the best I can be as a man? But I also know that I do feel like once I get on testosterone, it'll help me definitely come into my own. I'm trying to come into my own sense of being a man, my own man, being my man. Right now, I'm definitely trying to do that. But I mean, as far as being on testosterone, I feel like that'll definitely help me represent it. This person actually said, well, not them, not them. This person actually said, "Ooh, yeah, you be your daddy." Anyway, that person actually said that I lost my train of thought. Well, anyway, I'm just gonna jump point from when they said they don't feel like they convey any sense of maleness. I mean, sometimes I know that too, and it's because of that. Like when I'm in a social situation, co-ed, or just with males entirely, cis males, because I feel like I'm less, in a way, like I'm kind of still less of the male they are, that I'm, obviously, because physically I don't present certain things, I have to try to what? Cover it up. And that sometimes makes me act like a jackass, like a jerk, like a dick, to people. As I go into like this jerk mode. And co-ed, I really feel bad for it because I know I'm not being much of a gentleman to these ladies around me. I'm really not around these ladies. And I mean, I'm still a feminist or whatever. Like, I still care for women's rights and their sensibility, whatever. But then it's like when it's co-ed, when I know there are other guys around too. Not just because I'm trying to impress females, but because I'm trying to put on a show for the guys. I'm trying to prove myself, to them, basically. Which is something that most cis males go through anyway. When they're like 3, 5, 7, whatever, they go through the same things too. Like you have to be deemed your manliness from time to time as you grow up. Anyway, I just know, like I said, it brings me into jerk mode, and I don't want to be some jerk. I don't want to go into testosterone and be a bad man. I want to come into my own, have a sense of my own self, and be the better man. Be a better man. for myself and for the world, you know? For me too, so.
I think when it first came out, it was such like a liberating experience, and I'd never felt so happy, and I think the reason was because I was actually taking control of my life for the first time ever, and yeah.
That's exactly how it was. Like, it felt good. It felt. I remember, like, when I first came out as gay, right? When I thought I was gay, well, I felt like this huge weight off my shoulders. Anyway, the same thing basically goes for being trans. I mean, okay, my experience, I haven't actually documented how that thing happened, and I perceive my coming out really as to the folks here at Home Life, whatever, to the folks here who I've made very clear is they're it's kind of dismissed really, but anyway, whatever. That's after I said what I said. It's after I came out, and that's up until the present. But anyway, that night and everything, and what led up to the night, it's very, very, very depressing. One of the very, very lowest moments of my depression. Anyway, yeah, I'll talk about that. But anyway, just I did feel like afterwards, after I realized like what I had done, like maybe like a week later, after I was like, okay, it's done. Like there's no more to hide, really. Not much more to hide, you know. I mean, I've done what I had to do. I'm complete, right? I did feel a little bit more complete and in control. Like I had everything mapped out. So anyway, yeah, I did feel slightly better. But of course, then I started to learn, well, how things would really end up going here at Home Life. Anyway, alright, now this is very important too. It raises a very important thought that I've also had before. Because it's like, I mean, it is ultimate goal right now. Well, number one, to have my name changed, but also to get on testosterone and really start this fucking process. But it's the great unknown. Like, you don't know what to expect about yourself. I mean, I've known myself, literally, physically, I've known myself as me, this physical body anyway that I've been living in. So I mean, what this person just said, it scares me to think that soon things will be really different. And maybe someone's going to take what I just said. They're going to be like, so you don't want to transition. You're not transgender. No. Slow down. That doesn't mean they're not transgender. I mean, this is a lot. Anyway, and that's something that my mom is trying to say. She's trying to use against me. She's trying to say, well, yeah, I mean, you're not even sure about yourself, and you could take this back, and blah, blah, blah. Just, it wasn't out of care, or sensitivity. It was literally just like out of sheer manipulation techniques. Anyway, this is what they said right here. This is the important stuff.
Living as me, as I've always known me to be, you know, in this physical body, and I don't know if I'm just being over sentimental, but it kind of scares the hell out of me when I think about how I'm going to change so drastically on the outside, and it's obviously going to have a big effect on the inside, and it's a scary sort of concept to consider.
I mean, they're right. They're honestly right. They just said it all. It is, even though I'm looking forward to being on testosterone, and I'm always talking about, man, I can't wait to have the flat chest. Man, I can't wait to have a deep voice. Man, I can't. If only I could be taller. Man, if I could have muscles. Man, you know, it just, really, I'm always raving about, always talking about it, but it's just, I'm fantasizing. But I mean, it is still scary when you come to terms with the fact that, oh wait, this is going to change a lot. Like, this is going to be, I'm going to be really different. And with saying that, it's not me trying to say, oh, well, like, okay, me admitting my fear, and this is like kind of really contradicting, or someone could try to say this is contradicting, and I guess it is. But in a way, you have to realize it's bravery too. Like, I am considering all the terms and everything that this and that and this thing way up in the clouds, what this means and what it could mean in the future, what it does not mean. So what I'm trying to say, I mean. You know what I mean? Anyway, look, I lost my train of thought. I swear. Oh yeah, okay, I regained my train of thought. With admitting that there are certain fears to this, that in no way means or signifies, that does not mean that I'm not transgender. Like admitting that there are certain fears and cautions to this transition doesn't mean that you're not transgender. It doesn't at all. If anything, it just shows your maturity, that you're actually mapping out and you're actually considering everything. Why would you have to consider it so bad? Because I mean, why would you have to consider everything outside of the bounds and in between the bounds? Well, why? Because it really means something to you. Because it is on your mind. Because it is something that you worry about. It is something that you hope for and that you also fear. I do fear what could be. That was a random cough. I do fear what could be because I don't know what could be. But then again, I mean, that's something that I've always heard. The greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. Anyway, our mind imagines so many things. Our mind is basically our greatest fear. We can make up anything we want to and just be scared of our wits about something that doesn't even really exist. But I mean, it exists in our mind, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway. And now their voice is deep. Isn't that awesome? I can't wait till my voice gets deep. I really can't. I mean, alright, in public, okay. No, this is how well I can go. Yeah. This is really like about as low as I can actually go in public. Yeah. This sometimes passes and everything, but I mean, it's very hard. Like I can feel like right here. I can honestly, and I have to say like things like dude and stuff a lot. So things that like sound deep and rich in tone. Like in that bass. Anyway, I can feel like right here, like kind of like hurting something, like it hurting something. Like it feels weird right here, uncomfortable, kind of weird when I do that. And then when I just talk normal, it's still there, that weird uncomfortable feeling. But okay, it's gone now. I don't even have it. And that uncomfortable feeling is basically like my vocal cords. So I've heard when you try to deepen your voice as a pre-teacher guy, that can actually really, up your vocal cords. And then when you actually do get on stage, that can actually, well, kind of limit your voice's limitations. Actually, as far as what it will and what it won't sound like. So yeah, sometimes I don't want to do it, but I have to do it, because school, And then when I'm in a public place, whatever, I don't want to be misgendered, so I have to try to, you know, um, you know, do it an extra step, and that includes deepening my voice. Especially at school, there are some people now, they've gotten to know me, and they know me as this guy, and so I can't just come back the next day. They've found how I look, and I mean, obviously, I'm gonna stay the same. I'm not gonna change. My style of dress isn't gonna change. My hair isn't gonna change. I'm loving my short hair. I'm loving it. I don't know though. I'm loving it. But in my voice, if I come back the next day and I'm like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Yeah, they're gonna look at me cross-eyed, and it's gonna be like, "What? Like, you are different. Wait a minute. Whoa, your voice is really light. Oh my god, I think you're." They're gonna say the G word. GIRL, and then I'm gonna be pissed. But I mean, what can you expect from people who are conditioned and brainwashed into a society that says these are the boxes in which certain people live in? This is the box you live in because you're a certain kind of person. This is what they look like, this is what they sound like, and this is that. This is that. Like, that's it, period. Yeah, I have to remind myself sometimes just to be patient with ignorance, but sometimes I don't do the best job with that. Even home life, I'm gonna just start saying that. Even home life. And I know today they were like, "Oh, well, this is a manly." They were arguing like, "Well, I don't want to watch that. That's not a manly show. It's a woman's show." And my mom was just going with it. Well, I mean, yeah, I watch your manly shows all the time. I mean, they weren't even joking though. They were serious, and it's just like they were just like legit like promoting that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yo, this is the kind of home that like my little sibling is gonna be raised in, and they're gonna be brainwashed the exact same way. And it's already bad enough I have to like sometimes, like, I step back and I realize that a little sibling who happens to have, you know, and doesn't have this between their legs, whatever, who isn't a certain sex, what are they put in? They're wearing a bunch of pink clothes with hair bows and butterflies and pink socks, pink, pink, pink. It's just, it's so sickening sometimes just how heavy, like, these gender roles are. It really is. Like, it's just, it's sickening to see it starting already. I know that this is the kind of, even though it may seem minimal, this is the kind of BS that's just gonna follow them, follow my little sibling. It's gonna be trailed forever into their mind that, again, the boxes. This is the way you are because of this. This is the way they are because of that. You know, same kind of crap that I grew up on. And just kind of, and then what do you have? Next thing you know, my little sibling is gonna grow up to be another one of those people who says, um, because I have my views and I actually understand that these boxes, these norms, and whatever else is wrong, and I have my views on this, and my little sibling can grow up to be the same kind of people who tell me that no, I'm wrong, and that, the traditional stuff is the right way. This is how it's supposed to be. This is just how it is. And it is this way just because it is, stuff like that. It just, anyway, I just, stuff like that kind of makes me fear, like, what if, like, my little sibling will grow up to be one of those people who wants to, like, distance themselves from me because they think I'm weird, or just they're one of those people who takes their children because they're a certain sex, and they dress them up and they say, this is what you can be for Halloween, this is what you cannot act like in public, these are the toys you will play with, these are the toys you will not play with, this is how you act because you have this between your legs, this is how you will not act because you don't have this between your legs, this is how you will sit because you have this between your legs. That's where I was like 11 or something, and I was maybe 10, and I remember, like, asking my folks, different people at the time, like, why do you sit this way and they sit that way, and they said, well, because this is how girls sit, this is how men sit. Again, notice the difference between how my mother said girls and then the stepdad, he said men. I hear that a lot, like, women, they're referred to as girls, or mainly guys are referred to as men. Like, that's totally what happens. And then in a general setting, someone can walk up to a group of people and be like, hey guys, but they can't go like, hey girls, hey gals. Why? Because masculinity is just so heavy in our society. It's ridiculous how much people do not notice that stuff. And even if you point out to them, they don't even care. Like, they're fine with it. They're like, well, we don't care. Our heteronormative bullshit is perfectly fine. But they don't even care. They're putting a bunch of people in boxes, and they're making people like me, non-binary, non-conforming people, just depressed. You're putting us in these boxes. You're casting us away. But ironically, anyway, well, I can talk forever. Bye. Thanks for watching.